Welcome to Pakistan, Excellency, or as we say in Russian, I hope my Russian is good enough for you. Dobro požalovat Pakistan vaše prevozhoditelstvo. Dear Excellency, Minister Sergei Tsivilev, this visit marks the 10th anniversary of the meeting of the Russian-Pakistani Intergovernmental Commission for Trade, Economic, Science and Technical Cooperation. What are the most pressing issues that you feel from your side are important for bilateral cooperation and will be considered by this meeting of the Commission?
First, let me start out by saying that the largest part of the delegation arrived to Islamabad yesterday, and they got to work straight away by working in the working group on economic affairs. And tonight we had a beautiful, brilliant concert by Russian and Pakistani artists to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the IGC. We were honored by the performance by a Russian folk ensemble, which is called Rossiya, which means Russia, and it is named after Lyudmila Zykina. And of course, we believe that we would benefit from further mutual enrichment from the Russian and Pakistani cultures. This morning started by a lesson at a school here in Islamabad, where students are taught Russian as a foreign language. And we are ready to provide every necessary support in order to ensure that the Russian language is becoming more widespread here in Pakistan. And another important part of our delegation are rescuers and medics who were here in Pakistan 20 years ago when the country was hit by an earthquake. Back then the Pakistani government invited them to help, and they came to the aid of the Pakistani nation. At tonight's concert, I invited the rescuers who were helping the Pakistani people 20 years ago to take the center stage and say a few words. It was a terrible tragedy, and tonight we honored the memory of those who perished during that devastating earthquake by observing a minute of silence. The most important thing is that our two countries are ready to lend each other a helping hand in the hour of need. The stories of ordinary people are very important in such situations, and I hope we will get an opportunity to meet those who were rescued by our rescue workers 20 years ago. And at tonight's performance, I had another distinct pleasure of inviting Ms. Yelena Serova, a Russian female cosmonaut, to address the audience. Russia and Pakistan are developing a joint program on the outer space, and it's very important that young people see these cosmonauts, and maybe it will be the birth of their dream to join this research. As long as one wants it strongly enough, it is possible, and it is possible for women as well. I came here on the instructions of our president, Mr. Vladimir Putin. President Putin has instructed me to pass on his words of respect to the Pakistani nation and to express a hope on his behalf that with each passing year our relations will grow stronger. President Putin also wishes every success to our IGC meeting. He expressed his hope that the maximum possible number of projects would be initiated to serve the development of our two countries and the betterment of the situation of our people. Of course, tomorrow we are going to consider the matter of Pakistan steel mills, among other items on the agenda. It is an old project initiated back in the Soviet era, and it is an essential milestone of our bilateral cooperation.
I just wanted to ask you here that you talk about the Pakistan steel mills. There was a delegation of the Pakistan steel mills that visited Russia earlier this year in July as well. What kind of future do you see as far as this is concerned?
It is true. In July this year, a delegation representing Pakistan steel mills visited Russia, and we spoke about possible future avenues of our cooperation. Tomorrow we are going to approve our decisions to make it final, but hopefully next year we are going to start the pathway towards the reconstruction. Besides, an agreement was signed between the Pakistani Railways and the Russian Railroad Logistics. And tomorrow we are going to speak about matters related to the international north-south transport corridor.
Мы все считаем, что развитие
And we believe that the development of railroad connections will enable us to increase our economic cooperation.
мы знаем
We know the difficulties that Pakistan is facing due to extreme weather conditions, especially in agriculture, and we are ready to lend a helping hand by sending shipments of wheat or maybe other foods. Russia produces all of its own wheat and besides has a sufficient amount to export to other countries. And despite the fact that we have already finalized the plan to which country our exports go, we are ready to make an exception for Pakistan, considering the current challenging situation.
пакистанскому народу, мы готовы поставлять пшеницу.
Another issue that we are going to talk about tomorrow is the continuation of shipments of mineral fertilizers.
Очень важным аспектом считаем, что
Another important aspect is that we firmly believe that Pakistan needs pharmaceutical security. By pharmaceutical security, I mean that Pakistan needs to be able to produce all of the essential medicines on its own within the country. And I think the first step in the right direction would be launching the production of insulin. We believe that besides sending medicines to other countries, including Pakistan, as exports, Pakistan needs to localize pharmaceutical productions here, and we need to cooperate in training Pakistani workers so that they are able to operate pharmaceutical plants independently.
All right, I wanted to ask here, you talked about the localized production of insulin in Pakistan, which is a very interesting prospect. How will this project, in your point of view, change the lives of Pakistan or Pakistanis, in your point of view?
у нас остался
We have a matter that is yet to be settled, namely the price of this insulin that is to be produced in Pakistan. And before we get down to the localization, we need to decide on the price. We believe that it should be equivalent to the cost of American-made insulin that Pakistan currently imports. It would enable Pakistan to produce insulin as much as it needs and to reduce its dependency on imports. That would give Pakistan genuinely pharmaceutical security. That's the main condition for it. Insulin is just the beginning. We are ready to consider launching similar programs for other types of medicines.
все сами. И вот это самое главное условие.
Another important aspect is veterinary vaccines to ensure that animal husbandry thrives here in Pakistan.
Препаратов делать точно такую же программу в Пакистане.
It's also a matter of security, and here I'm talking not just about the foot and mouth disease vaccines, but also about other types of vaccines.
All right, now that you talk of energy, Excellency, I'm going to stop you right here. You have talked so much about energy justice. I've heard you, I've read about that. This term, energy justice, is a term that you have used many times. You've recently said, I'm going to quote you. You said around 1 billion people currently rely on open fires for cooking. More than 600 million people in Africa lack the access to electricity, and many others receive it in limited quantities or cannot afford to pay for it. How does Russia, how do you understand the concept of energy justice? Would you like to explain it to us, and how can this energy justice, in your point of view, influence the development of relations in the energy sector between our two countries?
Вы правильно ставите вопрос.
You are absolutely right. The matter of access to power is a very acute issue, and you were right to mention Africa, where over 600 million people have no access to electricity, and over 1 million people in the world rely on open fires for cooking. That's right.
В мире вопрос электрической энергии выходит на первое место.
In today's fast-changing world, the matter of electricity and energy takes the center stage. Because it's not just about electricity and energy per se, it is also about the transport that depends on them. Electrical energy is also about AI and data computing centers. Today, electricity can even represent money. I'm talking about cryptocurrencies here. And technological development, namely automatization and robotization of production, also require a lot of energy. It is the development of electrical energy that define how competitive a country is and the quality of life of its people. How shall we solve this issue? This is where our program of energy justice comes into play. We raised this issue within BRICS and SCO formats. The matter of energy justice falls in line with the concept of a multipolar world. In order to fully understand how important energy justice is, we can take a look at several examples of energy injustice. For example, certain countries are facing the problem that external actors are imposing renewables on them, despite the fact that renewables are very costly today. When countries face a choice, accept our conditions or you will not get our technologies.
Как-то на одном из
I remember distinctly one meeting where I spoke and it was about energy justice, and I gave the floor to a representative of an African country.
и они настолько эмоционально и четко.
The Africans who also spoke at that event spoke very emotionally about their desire to get rid of the colonial remnants, about their desire to build new relations on the basis of mutual respect, trust and consideration for each other's interests. It is on the basis of this principle that we are developing our relations with other countries under the concept of a multipolar world. And more and more countries are sharing this idea of energy justice.
Своего рода договоренность всех стран и народов.
Energy justice is essentially about all countries of the world coming together and agreeing how to develop to better serve the nations of all countries.
All right. Excellency, that's a very interesting concept. And energy justice is something that countries like Pakistan also have been endeavoring towards. And I hope that tomorrow, this meeting that we are going to have, this 10th edition of this Intergovernmental Commission's meeting, will lead to many more tangible results as far as this energy justice and collaboration in the energy sector between Pakistan and Russia is concerned. Another aspect, as far as you are concerned, is the different interviews that you've given recently. You've talked about the opening of engineering schools outside of Russia. Is there any prospect of that in Pakistan as well, any opening of an engineering school here? Is there going to be an announcement soon in that context? What's your take, sir?
Развитие энергетики.
In order to develop the energy sector, we need modern technologies, cutting-edge technologies, which can only be developed by people who are educated as engineers. Educating an engineer requires a lot of time and a lot of work, and ideally, the process should start while future engineers are still at school. Russian engineering school is about establishing engineering classes in secondary schools with a focus on physics, chemistry, mathematics and other sciences. After that, this knowledge that the school children gain during such classes can be applied at internships at various enterprises during their studies. It is about continuous learning. First, children get engineering educations at secondary schools, followed by universities or colleges. And after that, they go and start working at enterprises, but they don't stop learning. While they are young and beginning specialists, they still have a lot to learn. But that is until they become mature professionals, and then it's their turn to share their knowledge with the younger generations. It's a continuous process guided by educators and professional guides at each stage, with the final goal of turning a young specialist into a future educator as well. We are ready to implement this program in Pakistan.
И очень важно, чтобы наши дети
And it is a great idea for our children from Russia and Pakistan to get to know each other if they are going to share the same profession, that of an engineer. Time flies fast. They will grow up before anyone can blink an eye, and they will grow up and will have friends all over the world. It's time to start investing, and in 5 to 7 years it will be payback time, and the payback will be far greater than any money we can invest now. In Russia we have set a national goal of educating 300,000 specialists under this program by 2030.
That is wonderful, and if such a program can be implemented in Pakistan as well, that can only further collaboration between the two countries. And education, you know, there's nothing better than that. It's the future of all the generations that are going to come. The better you are educated, the better, as you yourself said, Excellency, you can educate the upcoming generations as well. And that is a wonderful, wonderful prospect for furthering collaboration between the two countries. Another aspect is tourism. I've heard many Pakistani tourism companies evincing their interest in collaborating with Russia. How do you see tourism as an avenue to further boost cooperation between Pakistan and Russia, and how do you feel this could be done in the long term and in the short term? What's your point of view as far as tourism collaboration between two countries is concerned?
Для развития туризма
we have tremendous potential for the further development of tourism between our two countries, and I firmly believe that this potential has yet to be tapped. So many Russian people want to go to Pakistan as tourists to see it. We have also noticed that a lot of Pakistani tourist companies have expressed their wish to send Pakistani tourists to Russia.
организовывать эту совместную работу.
I believe that we need to leave all existing restrictions to make these trips as simple as possible. If we increase mutual flow of tourists between Russia and Pakistan, that would enable us to organize regular scheduled flights between our two countries. This question was high on the agenda of yesterday's and today's meetings, and tomorrow we will see what our experts have reached.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for those lovely words and for your time. I know it's very precious, and for us, your presence is extremely precious as well. And I hope that this 10th edition of the Intergovernmental Commission's meeting will pave a new chapter as far as the relations between Pakistan and Russia are concerned. We wish you all the very best, a very pleasant stay in Pakistan, and we hope to see you and many of your compatriots very soon again in Pakistan, so that we can continue to forge a new path as far as this relationship between Pakistan and Russia is concerned. And as I always say, Pakistan-Russia's dosti zindabad. Thank you very much, Excellency.
Спасибо вам большое за хорошую беседу.
Thank you. Thank you.